Hello, I'm Paula Echeverria, and I made a brief report on different pandemics and epidemics so we can know a little bit more about COVID, basing ourselves in past pandemics and epidemics. So first, what is a pandemic? A pandemic is when a contagious disease spreads rapidly in a specific population, affecting a huge number of people over a period of time. With an uncontrolled contagion, an epidemic can collapse the health system, as happened in 2014 with the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, considered the worst in history. Epidemic and pandemic diseases require a specific action in health areas, prevention and treatment. Some pandemics and epidemics have been cholera, Ebola, malaria, meningitis, measles, and others. These diseases can appear in areas that did not previously exist, or outbreaks may develop from endemic diseases. One, for example, that was an epidemic, not a pandemic, was HIV or AIDS, discovered in 1966 in Congo. I think we pretty much all know the meaning of AIDS and how it happened. Then we have the flu. The flu was a pandemic in 1968 approximately, including more than 1 million deaths influenza has caused. It started as a Hong Kong flu and then went all through the earth. Then we have Asian flu, which was in the 50s, that caused 2 million deaths. It started in China and continued like 3 years, 2 to 3 year period, with 70,000 deaths only in the US. So then we have the cholera pandemic, that was a little bit more than 500,000 deaths. There are other 5 versions of cholera. This was the 6th one, starting in India. So we have different types of cholera. Then the most pandemic we recognize is the Black Death, or bubonic plague, that happened between 1346 and 1353. People in Europe, Asia, and Africa were all affected by this outbreak, killing between 75 and 2,000 million people. Originated in Asia and is strongly believed to be the worst pandemic of all time. And now we have COVID, the pandemic that started in Wuhan, China, that has a lot of conspiracy theories and just like regular theories around it. We now have a vaccine. Now it's much more regulated. The use of masks is not necessary. But basically 2.5 years we had to learn to live with this. Still, some places masks are mandatory. And yeah, that was basically it. Thank you for listening. So now I'm gonna include a small interview from my reporter Valentina that we made in 2020 at the height of the pandemic.
Our interview with a patient here in Wuhan, China. What's your opinion on pandemics?
In my opinion, pandemics are something that we should be more careful about. Especially, we don't know anything about COVID and we don't have a vaccine.
So what are your symptoms?
Some symptoms that I have are that I can taste food well and I can smell good. My throat hurts a lot and my head hurts and my body hurts.
So what? Good morning, America. Right now, we're in Wuhan, China at a COVID hospital. Here we have a patient. What's your name?
Hello, I'm Lisa Miller.
So, can you tell us how has quarantine been for you?
Quarantine has been really hard for me for teenagers because we can have normal life like we used to do. The pandemic has definitely affected my teenage years and my high school experience today.
Okay, so how is your experience here at the hospital in China, and what do you think about pandemics in general?
I had COVID